How's it going, YouTube? My United fans, how's it going? Sort of a bit of a desk issue out here. Yeah, how's it going? It's been a few more days since the Middlesbrough game, since the knockout of the FA Cup and the penalty. Well, I don't know what to say really. Obviously, just the poor result at Middlesbrough, despite the fairly positive display. Yeah, but we move on from it, I suppose. Burnley next. That's the whole purpose of this video. Just going to talk a little bit about formation and prediction and things like that. So we'll chat through that a little bit and yeah, just see where we're at. I mean, a lot of news in terms of obviously Martial going and his performance at Sevilla. That it wasn't a particularly positive initial performance from Martial, which is no surprise. A lot of fans left, Sevilla fans left disinterested and a bit annoyed and frustrated. All I can say is you've had a game of it, not nine or so years. So at least you've discovered that now. What else really? Yeah. Replacements for the Champions League. I've heard it's Lee Grant and Jones in replace of Van der Beek and Martial. I mean, considering neither of those players actually played a Champions League game, Bailey, then it's not really that much of an issue, is it? To be fair, it's in some clickbait other channels on YouTube saying that there's massive transfer news now and an overhaulage of United players coming out of Old Trafford into other camps and everybody's wanting out again. I don't know. Clickbait. Not really believing it too much, I don't think. I'm just going to take it one step at a time. Am I getting some stream lag here? I have to just double check. I think we're getting some issues. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm not feeling particularly well today. I haven't felt well over the weekend. I got a bit of cold, not COVID, cold, and feel a bit rubbish to be honest. So I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to make it a massively long one. Just wanted to chat through the formation and predictions for the game. Yeah. Oh, let me just try and sort out this stream. Looks like we're having some issues with that. Just double check everything's working as it should be working. But yeah, so, I mean, obviously 3-1 win last time out at Burnley at home. Again, I don't think, from what I recall, the performance was particularly encouraging, really. I think there was a Ronaldo goal in that. There was a Ben Mee own goal, and then I think McTominay got the first. Don't think Ronaldo played better. I think the team generally played better in the first opening minutes, but then Burnley made their way back into the game and then got a bit of a consolation, which was a little frustrating considering we're at Old Trafford and we're dominating the game. I think that's what the fans want to see a little bit more, just a little bit more composure, a grip of the game. A better performance, really. I'm not particularly bothered about scoring 3 or 4 goals, as much as that would be nice, as opposed to the fact that I'd rather see a decent performance where we dominate the game, win 1-0, but we've dominated possession, we've dominated the play, we've dominated the build-up, we've scored a good goal, we've created some chances, and we've ultimately won the game. We haven't shown that enough, if at all, this season, really, where we've actually physically dominated a game for large portions of it. And, yeah. Apparently, some issues with the stream, so I'm not... I apologise if you're getting buffering issues. Is what it is. Just wanted to talk through the formation, really. So we'll get that up straight away since I'm having issues already. So, and then we'll talk a bit about the fixtures. If anybody drops in, just take a comment. yeah, we'll chat away about the Burnley game tomorrow. Right, here we go. Right. Right, so here we go. This is the formation. So a very similar one to the formation that he played, uh, the team that he played against Middlesbrough the other day. Thought it was a uh, very good setup. I thought Pogba's inclusion. Um, I've shifted that now. Like, apologies if I've done that. Pogba's inclusion in the midfield was excellent. I thought, he really sort of showed his class in that midfield, and he was kind of, I won't say he was box to box, but he was certainly in a position where he was linking the two facets of sort of a defence and attack, and he was kind of the reason that we transitioned well. Not afraid to take passes in these areas from the defence, despite the fact that he might be surrounded, because he's strong enough to take the ball with his back to a defender. He's confident enough to take it when we're in these positions where he knows he's got a gap. He's happy enough to take the ball in those little holes, which allows you to basically, rather than going this way to try and get around or out to Dello and then it just get sort of covered off like this, it's having the confidence to use Pogba, which ultimately gives you a ticket out of those zones, creates that triangle, so that you can then play it into those areas where, instead of it going here to here, where it could get cut out, it's going from here to here and to here. It's giving you a ticket out because Pogba's confident on the ball. He's confident to take possession. McTominay hasn't been confident enough to do that. Confidence is a big thing when you're in those sort of level of positions. If you're not confident to take that ball at that level, you'll lose the ball. You'll have a bad touch. You'll take a heavy touch. You'll try and do too much. Or you won't have a clue or an idea in that moment what you need to do with the ball. So when McTominay's usually received it in here, there's some times when he's played quite well and he's got out of those areas, but more often than not, he's getting stuck. It's going back to the fullbacks, or the centre half, and or the goalkeeper, because they're just not confident. And the same with Fred. That's been the problem with McTominay and Fred, that they're not confident to turn on it. So if Pogba's here and he's got sort of people around him, he takes the ball, he's confident to do a little bit and turn on it and get himself forward, and it pushes everybody else forward because he moves, he turns the opposition, and he's confident, and so I thought Pogba was excellent. Was excellent the other day. I thought he was good. Obviously, he gassed a little bit. Obviously, didn't have that match fitness, but he showed his class, and he showed us that it was almost like getting a January signing, bringing him back in. It was brilliant. So that was definitely a massive positive. McTominay supported him very well in that regard as well, breaking up the play. Varane, it gave Varane a little bit of an edge. I felt Varane was excellent. Felt it looked more confident with what was in front of him, and he was able to mop up the play. Maguire had a good game as well, I thought, to be honest as well. Shaw could have been a little bit better, but I think again it's just getting match confidence and more fitness. He's been out on and off for the last sort of 4 weeks, and obviously we had a big break as well. Sancho looked a lot better in the first half, looked excellent, doing the things that you'd expect Sancho to do. I think he started off on the left though, and Rashford on the right. They did, I think, switch over at times. Fernandes was excellent, had a free rein to sort of come. He was deep here sometimes, playing passes into midfield, and he was out here, and he was out here, and he was just all over, just playing tickets, playing the ball from one place to another. So generally, overall, very, very good. I thought Ronaldo was poor again all night though, and I know people are going to sort of jump down my throat. Jump down my throat when I say that. a little bit, but it was true. And anybody who disregards that as a real, as a honest assessment of what Ronaldo did against Middlesbrough, then they're blind. They're not watching the same game as I was watching. He's been poor. He's been poor for a number of weeks, and he was poor again. Yeah, against Middlesbrough, had chances. Was played in here a few times. The ball down into the channel. He didn't have the pace to get away from his defender, a Championship defender. Didn't have the confidence to pull the trigger on his left to find the goal. Ronaldo, 2, 3, or 4 years ago, even would have put that away. He had a couple of those chances. Couple of chances around the edge of the box. His touch was heavy. There was a moment in the second half where he won the ball in this area. Fernandes, they were breaking, and Fernandes wanted the ball here, and he played it too hard to him. It just generally, his touch and his passing, to me, it just smacks that he's not coping with the game, the British game anymore. He's not coping with the pace of it, even at that level in the FA Cup. He wasn't at the pace. It's nothing to do with fitness. It's just that he's not at the pace that he's used to. La Liga's not fast paced every week as it was. You're talking, Ronaldo hasn't been in this league for, what's it been? When did he leave? It was 2009. So Ronaldo was around about, what would that make Ronaldo? He's 37 now. So you're looking like, sort of 10, 12 years ago when Ronaldo was in the it's a long time. 37, he was like 25, 26 when he left United. It's ridiculous. He's 25 years old. He's still in the prime of his career. Went to La Liga, and so that's a long time being away from the Premier League. And he's come back, and for me, he's just not at that level, at that pace anymore, on that level that you need to be. We're not a team who give him enough in the areas that he needs it. Back post, aerially. Even aerially, against Middlesbrough, I thought there's a lot of people commenting saying that there's delivery on the other night against Middlesbrough was poor. I still felt that we got enough in that box to threaten Middlesbrough, and I just didn't think Ronaldo had anything in him to challenge. I mean, he's been against some pretty weak, poor defence this season. Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley. Burnley doing terribly at the bottom of the league at the minute. Newcastle at the time were doing pretty poor. He's had some poor defences to cope with, and he's been nowhere near the mark. I know that as a team we've been pretty poor, but I felt the other night against Middlesbrough, the majority of the team was performing. The defence in the first half was solid. The midfield was working. The wing forward, both Rashford and Sancho, seemed to be getting joy, and Fernandes was playing well. And just Ronaldo was a weak link again for me, and I think if, dare I say it, there's one player that unfortunately we won't see probably come back into the team ever again due to his behaviour, but I think if he was playing, we probably would have won that game comfortably, to be honest, with his finishing and pace in that centre-forward position. But that's where we're going to struggle, I think, and that's what obviously we know we need a midfielder for cover. I think we could do with a left winger, to be honest, for me as well. Somebody with a left foot. We need a centre forward. We desperately need a centre forward. And if people like Kane are still on the market next season, I think that's something that we need to strongly consider. For me, Ronaldo's not got the sharpness in and around that area as a striker to threaten. I know people disagree with me over that one with his goals and everything else, but for me, with how we play, it doesn't suit him, and the pace I don't think suits him. Going to La Liga for nigh on a decade and then coming to Serie A, it's not the same as playing in our league, in the Premier League, and the pace is completely different. And so I think he struggled personally, and I think he struggled the other night, even in the FA Cup, where obviously Middlesbrough are playing for their lives. The pace is pretty similar, and the styles are pretty similar to the Premier League when teams up it in the FA Cup to play Man United. And it was a shame, really, because I think he was the only weak link in the team. You put a centre forward in who was probably 10 years younger than Ronaldo, we've got a bit more pace, and I think we win the game. And that could be, again, our downfall against Burnley on Tuesday if we perform as a team and we still have a bit of a weak link. I mean, maybe it's a form thing, I don't know. But he wasn't good the other night, and he was quite obviously the weak link, and I think that was the reason we didn't go on and just comfortably win that game. Not to mention, I know Rashford missed a chance, sort of a slightly more than a half chance. Sancho got the goal, fair play, deflection. Fernandes missed a God-given chance, but he's there for a reason, not to be running around, to be scoring goals, and he missed a pen, and he missed a couple of other chances where I felt like he could have just gone on and scored. But that as a team, that as a formation, I think he will play. I think it worked well the other night, although it was Middlesbrough on form, and we dominated the game, absolutely dominated possession. We broke up the play very, very well. His energy was high, the transitioning was good, Pogba was excellent, Fernandes was good, Sancho was good first half, the defence coped, and overall we looked a lot better team, and we need a better performance. Burnley arguably are a championship team if they carry on the way they are, so we need to go out there and we need to put in the same performance we did against Middlesbrough. And hopefully Ronaldo can get a few goals, and then we can be happy after tomorrow night. So we'll see. We're all deserving of a good performance from all of them, really, because it's been a while since we've seen one. I felt the other night was a little bit disappointing, considering I thought we actually did play well. There were some massive positives to take away from that game, other than the fact that we didn't score and put enough goals and put the game to bed early on. But it is what it is. Middlesbrough stuck around and got it to pens, which is a lottery. So yeah, fair play to them for that. So yeah, that's where we are in terms of the formation. We'll have a look at the fixtures slightly in a minute. There was some did see a bit of an article from Manchester Evening News about the next 6 fixtures compared to Arsenal and Spurs, but I'm not particularly interested really in Arsenal and Spurs. They can do whatever they want. They're the ones to lose as much as we've got to. I think our next 6 fixtures are pretty tough. Actually, saying that, I think, we're getting them up now rather than sort of trying to second guess what it is that what I'm talking about. Let me go. No, oops. My bad. Right. Yeah. So tomorrow, obviously, we've got Burnley, which is a must-win game. Burnley, obviously, we know where Burnley are at currently. Let's look at the table very quickly. United on 38 points. West Ham with a game. We've got a game in hand on West Ham, and they're a point behind, so we're well placed there. Arsenal with a game in hand as well on us, with 2 points behind. Tottenham, similar position, but with 2 games in hand, 2 points behind. So it's very much in Tottenham's hands, I think, at this moment in time. Wolves 4 points behind with a game in hand, but generally do think Tottenham have got it all to play for. With 2 games in hand on United and only 2 points behind, they could. And they're on a bit of form. Won the last out of the last 5. They've won 3 out of the last 5, drawn 1. So they've only lost 1 out of the last 5, which is a better last 5 than it is at Liverpool. They've won 2, drawn 2, lost 1. So yeah, that's pretty good form. Better than Chelsea's form, better than Liverpool's form. Obviously, City the only team other than Wolves. Wolves have had a bit of good run of form as well, to be fair. We're down at the bottom of the table, obviously, where Burnley are on 13 points. Dreadful sort of tally, really. The goal difference is shocking from where Norwich are sat, and somehow they're out of the drop zone, which is madness, really, considering everybody had pretty much had them down as and tipped for going down. Can't believe we're seeing Everton in 16th. That's just a shock, if I'm brutally honest. I can't believe we're seeing Everton sitting there. But their form has been absolutely atrocious. No win in the last 5 as well, so that's dreadful. or Norwich getting 2 wins out of the last 5, which is a big positive for them. And Newcastle have still a lot to do considering the money they've got, but they've got a game in hand over Norwich. They've got Everton have got a couple of games in hand as well over the ones below them and up above. So you'd assume that Everton, well, Lampard there now and a couple of signings will gradually claw their way out of that. I think Leeds are pretty safe as well. Looking at that, Watford, they're looking as if they're in a bit of danger. I know United have got Watford in a few games' time as well. Burnley have still got a couple of games in hand over Newcastle and Watford, though. 2 games in hand. They've got to claw something now, so they'll put everything into this United game tomorrow night, knowing how big it is, knowing how poor United have been this season, how mixed bag we are. They've got every chance of getting something against United if they really put their mind to it, with how poor we've been and how up and down we've been this season. Every team's coming now to Old Trafford we're away, but everybody's coming to play United, whether it be home or away, and expecting to get something out of a game, which is disappointing from our perspective, and I think that's something we need to stub out really and stamp out with a good performance. And no doubt if we put a good performance in, the reason I'm not bothered too much about the goals and scoring any more than 1 goal is because I know if we put a good performance in, the goals will come anyway. I just don't want to see a performance where we're struggling and we get a penalty or an own goal. It's pretty much the Burnley game, really. It was a bit of a scrappy game. Tomine obviously with a good opening goal, but then there was an own goal in there. And it's a bit of a scrappy affair, and I didn't think that we necessarily probably deserved the game as it went. I think it was 3-0 at half time. Or somewhere thereabouts, and we just need a confident performance where, we do, do put a good display in where we dominate the game, dominate possession, create plenty of chances, control the game defensively as well as with the ball, and hopefully then we will kick on and we'll win the game. But we've got to do that. Bottom of the league, they're struggling. I know they've got a couple of games in hand, but they're struggling. They've drawn 3, lost 2 out of the last 5. We need to put them to bed, and we need to win that game. So yeah, that's where we're sat. Back to the fixtures. So Burnley tomorrow, must win. Southampton, where's Southampton sat at the minute? So look at that. I think they're on a decent run of form. So they won the last 3, they've won, drawn 1, so they're on a slightly bit of better form. Sat mid-table, smack in the middle. Really, there or thereabouts. A couple of places below that. Right in the middle of the pack. And yeah, it's definitely got to be a must-win game. If we want to get this top 4, we've got to be beating those teams. If we look at the fixtures again, obviously, like I say, Burnley and Southampton, Brighton. Brighton's a tough game, but they've had a lot of draws recently as well. Tough team to beat. Defensively, they're strong. And they're good going forward, but they don't score a lot of goals. They create a lot of chances, don't score a lot of goals, and they're defensively sound, and they move well as a team, both forward and back. They're quite compact. It's a very difficult team to beat. So no doubt we'll obviously be a tight game, but we've got to win that game. Then we move on to the Leeds game, another team we're struggling. Obviously a big rival. We've done well against Leeds in the last 3 or 4 games we've played Leeds since we've been back in the Premier League. And another opportunity just to win that game comfortably away from home at Ellen Road, which is tough. But that Leeds is 7th from bottom on a poor run of form this season compared to last, and we need to beat them. So out of those 3 there, you're looking at least you've got to be looking at 3 wins and a draw there. I think the draw possibly coming from the Brighton game, but you've got to be beating Burnley, Southampton, Leeds. Move on to the Champions League, where it starts getting a little bit congested and a little bit confusing in terms of selection. Obviously, the Leeds game's on a Sunday. We move 3 days later onto the Wednesday at Atletico Madrid away, where Rangnick's got to make a decision whether he wants to go far in that competition. And I think considering where we are We're out of the Carabao early. We were out of the FA Cup relatively early, to a shock defeat to Middlesbrough. We're nowhere near winning this title. The only thing we can hope for is top 4, and that's not even guaranteed. We've got to put in a decent performance against Atletico, and I think he'll have the pressure to do that at United. Realistically, I think it's not as... It's gone. I think expecting anything out of the Champions League is a pipe dream. And I think realistically, we just need to be focusing on top 4 now at this time in the season, considering where we are with competitions and how bad we've been this season. I won't be saying that if we were still fighting in a cup competition. We were second in the league. I'd be expecting to go into that game and winning it, or at least coming away with a decent performance, a draw, taking back to Old Trafford. But we haven't been good this season. We can't lie. We haven't been good this season. The squad that we've got hasn't been good enough. We've had weaknesses in it. We've had injuries in it. It's not a particularly deep squad now. He's loaned a load of players out. And so I've got no expectation coming to that Atletico Madrid game, albeit that they're not on a particularly good run of form either. They're sat, 5th in the league. They just got beat by Barcelona 4-2, who aren't on a particularly good run of form either. So there's every chance we'll go to Atletico Madrid and put in a performance. We've actually been half decent in the Champions League out of all the performances this season that we've done. Although they've been last gasp moments. Ronaldo's best performances have come this season in the Champions League. He seems to rise his game in that competition, as we all know. So, yeah, we never know. It could be an opportunity where we do get a result out of that and we come away with a 1-0 win away from home, and we go into the second leg at Old Trafford with everything to play for and an opportunity to get through to the quarters. So, but it's a nice, if we get through, moment. I think we've got to really look at these next fixtures in the Premier League and expect wins. Burnley, again, as I say, got to be 3 points. Southampton's got to be 3 points at Old Trafford as well. We're taking Brighton back to Old Trafford. Tough game. It's going to be really tough. Don't expect a big scoring game, but we've got to be tight. And if we're tight and we create chances, we'll score. You've got to expect 3 points there. And you've got to expect 3 points from Leeds, considering where they're sat, although it is at Ellen Road. Off the back of the Atletico Madrid game, we'll go to Watford, which is another 3 days later. So that's tough. Thursday, Friday, Saturday game. Watford, it's obviously a bit of recovery time. Hoping that we don't pick up any injuries. Providing that we don't, we've got to expect to beat Watford, who are currently sat 3rd from bottom, are not on a great run of form either, at Old Trafford as well. So we'd expect 3 points from that. Then we go into the toughest part of the season then, and I think the point in which it could be make or break for our season overall. And within a matter of probably 3 weeks, 4 if you extend it to the Liverpool game, but definitely 3 weeks. The big one's the Tottenham game, clearly, with their game in hand. 2 games in hand. We win that on my birthday as well. We win that game. We give ourselves a fighting chance at top 4, I think. We lose that game. Top 4's gone. No doubt we come off the back of a City game with either a draw or a win. A draw or a loss there. I'm being realistic. We're at Etihad. We haven't been good this season. They dominated the first game. They've dominated everybody else this season. They're absolutely on form. They've got an unbelievable deep squad. So unless we pull out an unbelievable performance, I can't see us getting much out of that game. That's not being defeated. That's just being realistic. So that's kind of where we're sat with that. So providing we get something out of that game, we get a draw. We take Tottenham back home. Anything can happen, I think, against Spurs this season. They've been up and down. We've been up and down. Their manager acquisition's been a positive move for them. They've obviously made a couple of January signings. Tough opposition, and I think at that point in time we'll know more about the league and where everybody's sat. So it's tough. Man City, Tottenham, back at Madrid, back at Old Trafford for Madrid's second leg, providing we're still in that game after the first. Liverpool, Leicester, and Everton. Leicester and Everton obviously are both equally struggling, and then Norwich and Arsenal. So once we're into April then, but March it's a big month for us. City, Tottenham, Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool. Massive 4 fixtures there that are basically going to define the rest of our season. Either we're in the Champions League still, and great, and we're all buoyant. That could be off the back of 2 games though, where it's basically dictated our top 4 position. We lose those 2 games, I think it's gone, unless we've had an unbelievable last 4 or 5 in the Premier League. We've won every single game up until that point, and other people have dropped serious points, but I can't see that happening. Without looking at other people's fixtures, I can't see that happening, and we'll go into March and hopefully all pretty tight, all pretty close, and that's where the season's on a knife edge, I think, really, to be honest. So yeah, we wait and we see. But tomorrow we've got Burnley, and that's the big one, really. But Burnley away from home. Burnley, bottom of the league. Not the worst team by any stretch of the imagination in the league at this moment in time. Well, I suppose they are technically on points, but they've got 2 games in hand. I think there's been other teams that have been far worse than them. Newcastle being one, Watford, but Norwich were scraping the bottom of the pile for a long period of time, and people saying that they were gone and dead and buried, giving themselves a fighting chance. So yeah, strange league, very competitive league this season, one that we can't take for granted, and we've got to give it our all and put a decent performance in against, albeit the bottom of the league. But we do what we did against Middlesbrough, put a good performance in, plenty of energy, I think we'll win the game hands down pretty comfortably, I think. Yeah. Right, guys, if you watch this back, I'm just going to leave it there. If you watch this back, then appreciate that. Don't forget to drop a comment in. If you drop a comment in, then I'll reply back. Anyway, even if you replay it back. Don't forget to subscribe. Helps me out. And hit the like button as well, please, if you can. Other than that, appreciate you if you've watched. If you haven't watched, then you won't have heard me say this anyway, so, it doesn't matter, does it? Other than that, guys, take it easy, and hopefully we'll get a win tomorrow. See you later. Bye.